even if you don't become like an analyst or some finance guy, you might want to be able to like read like a magazine or something, or like if so let's say you work for a company, right, and you do sales or you do research or you do marketing, right, and your company just they're doing really bad and stuff. All your coworkers are going to talk about what's happening, right? Because the economy affects everything. All your coworkers are going to be, oh, did you hear this happen? I say, no, I have no idea, right? It's gonna. So this will let you keep up with current news, because current news is not CBS saying, oh, that guy, did something, bad, in Brooklyn, he killed this woman or whatever, right? That's bullshit. News is basically like finance news. Whether you want to be a lawyer or whatever, even doctors, right, have to understand how the economy is doing to do that. So this will give you enough basic knowledge to really carry on. If you want, and so what I've basically done is like if you get to know more industries like healthcare, technology, or anything, that should be more than enough knowledge. You can read articles, and I can teach you more about each industry. That's basically how that works out.
You teach on Thursdays?
Yep. So yeah. And then, I forgot what I was going to write here. I forgot. So I mean, so originally, ideally what would happen is, if I had you guys for 6 months, like a class or whatever, or this was like, if you guys were portfolio managers, you would take positions every week, right? And you would keep changing stuff, right? Use Seeking Alpha to find new stocks, or maybe like instead of just corn and oil, you can do a little bit of oil as well. Just pick stuff and then start. So what I noticed from your portfolio, right? I'm going to examine hers and then yours. Sorry. How do I do this? Very bad at this. Oh, you don't have it open? It's fine. So, like for example, right, over here, like when I saw Midori, right? Midori had $74,000, right? That means she has $26,000 in cash, right? So that means Midori is actually pretty safe, but if she wants to make more money, she might put more money into gold or put more money into a different stock. Right? So in your case, right, I think Yuji has too little money invested. He only has that much or that little. So that's pretty much. That's an interesting thing. But
I was going to do it, but it only goes up to 32 at max.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
I mean, last 52 weeks. So
right.
It's like that. I'm going to cancel.
Cool. Sounds good. But yeah, I mean, I would say that Yuji needs another stock here because he has too little money invested. $54,000, basically, if he keeps $20,000 in cash, he should have more money invested. You see, you also made, imagine, right, this is just like 1 week and stuff, but if Coke went up to like $70 and like some of this went up to 35 or whatever, right? You would make a considerable amount of money because you put $20,000 into these. You make like $2,000, 3% or whatever, 4%.
What would you invest in? You want to invest, yeah.
Well, I would basically, if I invested, right, I would go on Seeking Alpha, get some ideas, and I would research each company separately. And one way I research actually is, you might not want to look at this, but like for example, right, let's say I was looking at, not Teva, but like Netflix, right? So So the way, I wanted to introduce this, but this is going to take a long time. But what you do, this is some of the accounting stuff that you're interested in. Not tax accounting. Tax accounting you have to take a class. But this is financial accounting. That's the other accounting. You go to SEC filings. SEC stands for Securities Exchange Commission. They're like basically the law. Just think about the government. Like if you go to jail, this is a jail for financial criminals. So. And then we have something called a 10K. K is annual, Q is quarterly, right? So usually 10K annual is more important. So I would go here. And then form 10K. And remember we looked at this last time. So this has all the information on the company. And there's actually a lot. This is much bigger than you think because it's still loading. It's like 100 pages. Right? So these are some of the financial statements on. some of these are some of the financial statements, right? That means in 2000, it's just a quick thing, right? So revenue, they made this much money, right? And then, so subscription is because Netflix, they need people to subscribe. So this is where they get their money from. Expenses per year, whatever, all this bullshit, right? Marketing costs. And and the hard thing about accounting is you have to learn all these terms and stuff, what it means. This is financial accounting though. Taxes is actually pretty decent. If you take a class in taxes, I think you can figure it out. And you don't really need an accountant to do financial accounting. It's really great. So the way I invest in the stock is I actually do financial analysis. I do the technical that I taught you. But I also look at these statements and I create like a model. So for like this all, you don't need to understand this at all. For example, it's just this like just bullshit stuff, right? But the thing is like, so this is just revenue, but then, for example, you can create a model of like all this. Actually, I'll show you something else. So this is the analysis I didn't cover, and this is why, because it takes a lot of time and experience, and pissing you off is really annoying. So you can look at remember all this? This was from the 10K. And basically, I looked at all their revenues and I projected them. This is cost, revenues, this is income, so the money you have, right? And then this is balance, so your assets. A company has shares. Liabilities, they owe people money. So you can see that over here, right? Accounts receivable, so we have accounts payable, money we owe people. Accounts receivable are money that other people owe us, right? That's inventory, think about that, like sales inventory. Income taxes, prepaid. PP&E stands for plant, property, and equipment. See, this is just all garbage, but I just, this is how I usually like do an analysis. And the reason you do all this stupid garbage is, what happens is that, this type of model is, so I'll show you something it's called. So one type of model is called, so a DCF means discounted cash flow, right? And the reason why this is a type of analysis that you can come up for a price of the stock using the big document I showed you. So if I come up with a price of $71.46 and then stock price now is like $40, that means I think it's cheap or whatever. It's based on these financials. So first of all, I would do the technical that I taught you, the graphs, and then I would do this to see what price. So then that means I can buy and sell at something similar.
So you gotta input this on your own.
Yeah, you can input all this by yourself, but then some of this is like you're calculating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is what like accountants or analysts do. This is the second step. So, and you don't need to learn financial accounting to understand your accounting. I think what you're talking about for your business is tax, maybe tax related, some business stuff. You can learn that in the class, but you have to ask people. Right? So, I hope you learn a little bit in this class, and then feel free, just come down for a little bit. And then if you want like more like actual stuff, so I've applied to a lot of finance jobs before. So if you wanted to really do finance, I can really train your skills. Business program is great. I'm going to tell you it's fantastic. It's actually pretty good. But if you want to get in depth, finance interviews are usually much tougher. Finance consulting, and I can like train that in as well. Because if I have a month off, right, where I don't have any students, I can just teach. It's not part of the curriculum. I'm not going to charge for it, obviously. So, for CCF, and then we also have comparables, so you can compare two different companies. Okay? That's another way to value a company. For example, this is
So this is what you would do for your job.
right. So look, Procter & Gamble,
Mm-hmm.
you know what they do.
Yeah.
Kimberly-Clark, Gillette. So these are all similar companies, right? You have to try to pick as close as possible. You compare their stock prices, and you come up with the value of your own stock price as well. This based on different comps. So comparables are sort of like, remember we did PE?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of them. There's also price to book,
Mm-hmm.
price to EV, EV over EBITDA, all this. There's a lot of multiples. Where is this? So look, EV, enterprise value, total value, remember, over revenue. EV over EBITDA, last 12 months. And then you can project based on how much you think it is. And earnings, how much you think this is. It's all like, and it might not be accurate, but this is the fundamental analysis I'm going to teach. Yeah, it takes a long time. You need like 8 classes or something. So, yeah. If you're not doing this for your career, like, you know, I don't know enough about marketing to really do anything special, right? So, yeah, pretty much. Like, I created this Spanish presentation, right? And I did this as freshman year, right? This is all I know how to do. It's for a Spanish presentation on food. Like it? No? You don't like it?
No. It's good. I don't know.
But, and then even when I first started doing this presentation prep, this is hard to make. It's freaking ridiculous.
It looks good though.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you learned a little bit something. Yeah. So if I'm with you for the next month, you know, you can, whatever it does works best for you. Yeah. So I can teach like half the class, you know, till 8, and then we can do something else elsewhere. How's your resume? Did you get the LinkedIn thing?
Yeah.
Does that work out pretty well?
No, I haven't taken a look yet.
Oh, right,
but
of course, yeah.
yeah. I just you know, fixed the resume from the other day. I haven't touched it yet.
Cool, sounds good. Yeah, so you can yeah, we can work on that too.
Oh man, I gotta hand that in and submit it soon. Well, it's not no deadline, but I just want to get it over with.
Right. You had another resume when you applied to the business program or something. I kind of liked it.
Really? It's like the same stuff. Even worse, probably.
It's better than the one that you had the other day.
Really? I don't know.
Keep that format so we can work with that.
I think it's the same format though, pretty much. I really didn't change that much.
But there's a blank spot on the bottom. So you did.
Oh. Yeah, like,
it definitely looks different.
I definitely have like maybe one more sentence.
Right.
But I don't know.
So, what you can do is you can keep your accounts or something and then keep like, you know, looking at articles.
Yeah.
Feel free to ask me questions. Do whatever. Or, you know, focus on your own career stuff. You know? Have fun in Japan, by the way. Have a good trip. Have a good trip in Japan, by the way.
Thank you.
Do you have any plans today? Are you doing anything special?
No.
Cool. I know it's late. Well, I hope you guys learned a little bit something, at least. But, yeah, feel free to stick around if you need help or anything. Are they having a meeting now, or?